In this video, we're going to be keeping things nice and simple, going to trim all the fat off. I simply want to make you a better chipper. So simple, in fact, we're just going to be concentrating on two parts of your body. We're going to be concentrating on the centre of the chest, the sternum, and we're going to be concentrating on the wrists and their roles within this very simple chipping technique. So the first thing we'll talk about is the sternum. Now the sternum, obviously centre of the chest. All I want you to do at setup is just make sure that the sternum is opposite the ball, or maybe even slightly target side of the golf ball. The second thing that is important with the sternum within this technique is that the sternum doesn't turn. We want that sternum to feel as though it's tilting. So I'll show you that from this angle. This would be the sternum turning to face away from the target. We want less of that, and we want more tilt. So the shoulders are still going to open a little, but we're introducing this tilt. This tilt is incredibly important. So to the player, it's going to feel as though the shoulders are actually staying parallel to your target for a little bit longer. We want less of this, and we want more of this. So far we've got a sternum which is opposite the ball, or maybe even slightly target side. We've got a sternum which is tilting more than it is turning. Now let's talk about the wrists and what we want the wrists to do within this very simple chipping technique. Now the sternum movement is going to create movement in the club head, or the weight of the golf club. Now we want the wrists to be susceptible to that weight. So it's not you, the player, that's going to be using your wrists to move the golf club head or the weight. I want the weight of the head to be imparting on your wrists. So the club weight is using your wrists as a hinge point. So momentum is created in the club by tilting the sternum in the backstroke and in the through stroke. And just allow the weight of the club head to impart back on the wrists, using those as a lever point. So the grip is going to be quite firm, but we don't want the wrists to be too floppy, and you, the player, don't want to be using your wrists. I want you to feel the weight of the golf club using your wrists as a hinge point. So that's the technical nonsense out of the way. So sternum, opposite ball, maybe even slightly target side, tilting sternum back and through, with wrists that feel as though they're only moving because of the momentum of the club's weight. That's not too bad of an effort, the first go. Let's have 2 or 3 goes so that you can actually see this in action. Another pretty decent one. So these shots are going to be just in and around the green, fairly short, just off the side of the green. So I'm using a 9-iron here. You're probably not going to be using all that much loft. Tilting the sternum back, tilting it through, allowing the weight of the golf club to use the wrists as a lever point. And it's as simple as that. There's no need for overcomplication. 2 points of the anatomy: centre of chest, sternum, wrists, and then the club's weight, using your wrists as a lever point. Just keep it nice and simple. There's no need for complication from short distances. So that's really simple, just the sternum location relative to the ball at setup, then the motion of the sternum rather than turning. It's more of a tilting sensation back and through, and then just allowing the weight of the golf club to use your wrists as a lever point. You don't want to feel as though you're using your wrists to move the club. And the great thing about this, it can be practiced in the home. You can use real balls in the home, watch the windows and the telly, mind you, or you can use airflow balls if you want. And with enough repetition and then taking yourself to the practice ground, you should be ready for next season.